we've tried to reach a consensus on this debate in the past. As a matter of fact, stay with the wide shot. I forgot to do something. As I run it into Josh, you can sue me for whiplash. I would suggest you call Marcos Garza. Okay. This is the number of teams the number of times Tennessee has played all their SEC rivals. So Kentucky 120, Vandy 118, Alabama 107, and then on down the line, I've got a little light there. Don't know what's happening.
There we go.
It's all right. You can read it. Well, you can read it if I step out of the way. So anyway, I want to know, we've done this before. We've tried to get the group to have a consensus. I don't know if everybody was on that show or not. We rotate so much. So what I'm going to do instead is, that's who you played the most. Tennessee, a couple of years ago, they came out and said it would be Vanderbilt, Alabama, and South Carolina who you would probably get. Now, the SEC has let it leak now that we're probably not going to go with that same group. We may have adjusted things. Greg Sankey has talked about leaning into historical rivalries, which I would like. Josh, we'll start with you. Actually, let's start with Bob down here. Bob, I'm going to start with you. Which three permanent rivals, if you were picking this for Tennessee?
If I'm picking this for Tennessee, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Florida. And Vanderbilt would be my number 3 on that list. They would be the one most likely to be shoved out. But I would keep Alabama for every reason everybody knows. Yeah. Florida, because over the past 35 years, that has become, I think, you're almost as big a rival as Alabama. And then Vanderbilt, because they're in-state.
Yeah.
That is simply the reason I keep Vandy. They're in-state, so go ahead and play your in-state SEC rival.
Vandy, Alabama, Florida.
Yes.
Okay, those are the 3 for Bob.
Right.
Chuck.
All right, I think we're all pretty much going to be going on the Alabama, right? That's not just one of the biggest rivalries in the SEC. That's one of the biggest rivals in college football.
Okay.
And then I've got Vanderbilt again, in-state, easy drive either way. I think you got to keep that. And I've got Kentucky with an asterisk. And the asterisk is they got to bring back the beer barrel. And if they don't, we're going to boot them for Ole Miss.
Oh, man, all right.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
I'm going a little odd here. And I believe, as I said, I'm a big believer in the traditional rivals. However, I find nothing interesting about Vanderbilt ever, ever. If they left the conference tomorrow, I would be a happy man. I just don't find them interesting. I almost said Florida. In fact, I had Florida written down here as the 3rd, behind Kentucky and Alabama. But instead, going a little different way just to generate a little conversation. Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn instead of Florida because Auburn was that traditional rival before Florida. And it's unusual. If you look here, Tennessee has played Auburn, Florida, and Georgia 54 times each, every one. It was Auburn, and then Florida kind of took their place as the season opener for years and years and years. That was a heated rivalry with Auburn. Also, the other reason I would pick Auburn, it's an easier drive than Gainesville. Yes. That's easier travel for both sets of fans.
I have no problem with Auburn being on that list. I think that's a good choice.
I also think Kentucky is weak. Alabama is strong. Auburn's kind of right there in the middle. And a lot of times Auburn is right there with you. Yeah. When you're up, they're up. When you're down, they're down. It's been a lot of good games between Tennessee and Auburn over the years. So I would go Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn. Will, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Kentucky. And this one kind of hurts because for people my age and younger, I think a lot of us, the Florida game is bigger than the Alabama game. But I know historically you also need to sell TV contracts. The Alabama-Tennessee game draws nationally.
Yeah. Right.
So I went with that one. And I am of the belief that the SEC in college football, they need to be intentional about preserving regional historic rivals.
Yeah.
So that because of the border with Kentucky, that's why I went there. Vanderbilt's your in-state rival, even though I don't think they should be in the SEC anymore. But they are there. So those are the 3 that I went with.
Josh Ward.
Okay, so I'm keeping, I'm not choosing between Alabama and Florida. I'm choosing both.
There you go. So, all right.
As a 5-day-a-week radio talk show host, the Alabama and Florida game creates more interest than any other opponents for Tennessee. Year in, year out, you can find differences, but Kentucky does absolutely nothing for me. I like the idea of the barrel coming back, but to me that has lost a ton of significance because
Thank you.
if it just stays in the same city for potentially 10 years, 15 years,
But it's a trophy.
It is a
trophy
You don't
game.
have trophies in this league.
Yeah, well, Tennessee has it. They can put it out for everybody to see.
And they should. I called for that. They
Yeah,
should
yeah,
bring it out
so-
and not let Kentucky play.
If Kentucky had it and you wanted the game to be there so you could get it back, that's one thing. But Tennessee already has it, and they're going to keep it. So that game does nothing for me. Vandy barely does, but I'm just helping the in-state school there, I guess.
Exactly, that's
If,
the
if
reason I
Diego
was
Pavia
sharing,
could
yeah.
be the every year quarterback,
in-state.
but
Otherwise,
yeah,
it's just
Alabama and
the
Florida to me are head and shoulders above everybody else in the SEC in terms of the interest that those games draw.
We brought this up on Friday in our show, who should they choose? And I said Kentucky, and I mean hundreds upon hundreds of people texting saying, why in the world are you trying to get rid of the Florida game? I would rather have Florida than Alabama.
Well, you're still going to have
Yeah.
Florida occasionally.
It's all about
right?
it. It's all
Right.
about your age.
It is.
Right.
Now,
You're going to have everybody occasionally.
Right.
We did. This is how it's flipped, though. You've got that's people of a certain group. I had Ollie Lane on our digital network, and we did a John Wilkerson. I sat down with him. We talked about Tennessee's biggest rivals today, and I wanted a recent player on there. I said, "Who's the bigger rival? Florida?" I expected him to say Florida. He's like, "No, it's Alabama. It's whoever beats you." That you've kind of caught up to Florida a little bit. They haven't. They've been struggling. They're kind of in the Butch zone, Butch Jones, Derek Dooley wilderness that you came out of. That's where they are right now, or where they've been the last decade or so. So they're no longer the top dog for the youngest, for the now generation. I think the previous generation loved Florida, and I think the generation before that loved Auburn and Ole Miss more than they loved Florida and Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just think that's a generational thing. But the Kentucky deal, I know this. I grew up in Middlesboro a long time, part of my youth. So I know how much passion there is in that
Yeah.
town. It is a split, man, and the two sides do not like each other. You go to Nashville. Nashville, is it even a split?
No, it's Tennessee. Really?
No. So at least Kentucky is
Yeah.
plus it's your biggest basketball rival. So I like having a
Exactly.
rival in both sports. But I don't
I
have
tried
any
to find a
interest
little
in Vandy.
balance. I would actually like to trade out Vandy for Auburn. That would interest me more. But
Yeah.
Fans would
And-
scream
and-
Alabama, Auburn, and Florida.
If you were,
Yeah, it's too hard.
going to create one, Texas. If
I
you
agree
were
with
just
that.
going to reach in and say, okay, everybody's going to have a new rival, Texas would be
The
good.
tough part with Texas
the two
is
UTs.
they have to play Arkansas, they have to play A&M, they have to play Oklahoma,
Yeah.
because the SEC doesn't hate money.
Yeah, and that's the thing. For anybody who complains about, well, we're going to get stuck with, look at Texas. They're going to get A&M, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Those are all three pretty good. Alabama's going to get probably LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn. I think it should be
Yeah.
Mississippi State instead of LSU, but TV's going to say LSU.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think anybody who cries about our
And how
schedule's too
long
tough
before
will
the
have a leg
old
to stand on.
Southwest Conference comes back?
All right.